of people are getting into tolling now. There's a lot of people where they set it up and they try to handball to customer and think that's the end of the day. However, you want to really set it up and also probably do a little bit of hand holding on day 0 on giving it over to your customer. So some of my recommendations is putting departments against specific users, mainly so that way when they go looking at the report, rather than selecting Bob, Jane, Fred and all the rest of it from sales and then going selecting all the other random names, you can group people by types. So that way when they run reports, it makes it easy to work with. The other thing is around phone numbers. Not everyone's going to remember the phone number of the advertised line or the TAC line directly. If you're putting names against specific numbers, you can then start running reports directly. So when they go to do filtering, it makes it a little bit easier to work with. Things like your business hours, you'd want to select the trading hours for when they run a report. In ad hoc mode, they're not always selecting 9 to 5 over and over again and unticking your weekends. They want to make it nice and simple. Things like the dashboard just show data that matters on day 1. This makes life a little bit easier, so you're not explaining too much. Some of the other recommendations also when you're onboarding your customer is on day 1, just do a one-to-one with the SME in terms of the training. Again, just give them a brief overview of what is there. Even do this maybe prior to going live, just to get a little bit of information like the departments, as you probably would have done when you're doing your collection of data. And then once the customer's had the service on for roughly about 7 days, let's get them to come back in and start reviewing the data that's there. So that way you've got something to work with to explain what it means, what it does. And this can also be another chance for you to maybe upsell the solution to your end customer, because you might have a customer who just thinks, I want hunt groups everywhere, thinking that's going to solve the world. And then you'll show them things like their missed call report and they've lost maybe 3/4 of their calls because of how they wanted to do it. So it can be an opportunity to upsell as well. Going on from there, once you've got past the admins, then start working with your supervisors and your agent consoles as a separate session. Doing one big dump of all of this in one hit with one customer will ensure that pretty much won't go back into it because it'll be too much for them to handle. So we'll come into tolling for the moment and I'll go through these options. So on the bottom left-hand side, we go to the configuration, click on user, and then we go to department. As you can see, I've already got a couple in here. Very simple to set up. It's just a plus, put in the name of the department. So maybe we talk about accounts. And if they want to put a KPI against a particular department, they can do that from here as well. So we'll say accounts may give them a call back within, say, 120 minutes. Very long callback time. We can come back up to configuration. And we go to user. And then we can click on extension. You can do this in bulk, but I just want to show you one by one from that, so that way you get a feel on the drive. All right, so maybe now we want to assign the department to individuals. So just type in a couple of characters in here, hit enter, and that'll filter out any users that's got listed these names. Come to the right-hand side and click on edit, and we can go into departments and then select who we're going to assign those people to. Once you've done that, click on save. You can also do things like what is the start time of individuals. So maybe they want to put a KPI about are people showing up to work on time. So you can probably put in this person's start time is that, and they're normally available for 8 hours of the day, which you can then report on later on as well. Once you've done that, click on save. Again, you've done basically your departments. Last thing that I mentioned before was also the trading hours. Now this is hidden over here underneath system settings and business performance. Top part, if they are a marketing group, they might want to do some things about forecast management where they want to know what is the conversion rate of inbound phone calls. You could do that from the top and say outbound. However, we are focusing on the trading hours just a moment here. So this is where you put in your trading hours as to when they open and close. Note that we've got midnight through to the end here. Basically what that means, that is a whole day event and that is kept as closed. Going down the bottom here, more performance parameters mainly due for outbound telemarketing. All you need to do from here on the system settings is disable the sync for department for Broadworks, and then that will stop the Broadworks coming in and putting in departments that you don't use. Also, sort of take note from a tech support note here as well. If the customer logs in as themselves, they can actually restrict your access for you looking at their data. So if you come into here and say block this one and block this one and this, that means you cannot access your customer. They'll have to grant you access as needed. So just sort of take that on board when they say, oh, can you help me out with something? And you're going through the service provider portal that's provided to you and you can't actually get into anything. This is the reason why. And some people will want to block it because they've got some compliance issues and some also data security notes that they want to take care of. So Now we'll quickly duck over to reports. So now we've done the setup of reports. Now we can make it a little bit more easy to work with. So when we click on the extension, we'll see we've got a lot of different extensions and different data. But now we've done it in the past, we don't need to actually do it like this. What we can do is we can come into our plus, go to our levels, and take note. When we tick on something like this, it basically says all departments, but we want to focus maybe just on sales. So we can untick this one here and go to sales, and we can go to apply. And now we're just focusing solely on the sales department. And this can be replicated in quite a few different other reports catalogs as well. So from here, now you could maybe if you want to start making a tile out of this, we just want to know what is the extension activity for sales. We can now click on this one here, and then we can say last month's, because that's what it is, extension productivity sales, something like this. So whenever we're setting up a tile that we want to bring up, again, keep it simple with your customer. You'll probably use something like today's sales calls. From summary, that will take all this data here and put it into a dashboard of this style of configuration. If we did the next option of some details, such as this, that would then focus on the next bracket underneath, where it's this data here coming into here, something like that. And of course, if we were to select the last one for charts, that would then go as that sort of style in as well. The next thing we have seen some people getting a little bit stuck with is also around the reporting, just to focus on this one. But let's just take note of the heading here. We've got create task and add to existing task. Creating a new task, this is where we want everything to happen at this specific time. So John may want to keep a focus on all the sales that came in. John, add sales. There we go, sales to sales. And then maybe want to send it to another location as well. If we use the encryption, this means you get a separate email with a password to unlock the file that's sent to you. So then down the bottom, when do we want to have that report? Do we want it to be run daily, weekly, and monthly? Now, some people will think, yep, I want to run this weekly, but when they get the data, it's a little bit back to forward. Why? Because what you've got down here is the filter is saying we want to see last month and we're running it weekly. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So most likely you probably want to have last week as the filter with the department. So that way when you get your weekly email coming in with the report, you can actually see the data for the week, not the week forward or the month, whatever. So simple, do the filter, do the task, so that way you get the correct data. Then give it a name, and then put in what format you want to receive it. Once you've created your initial task, you come back to here, select one that's been pre-created beforehand, and then as you do more filters, they'll be sent to you at a weekly basis with the new name with whatever filter underneath. This makes life a lot easier, so that way instead of getting 15 emails at midnight or 7 a.m. in the morning, you get one email with all reports, so you'll have maybe 10 PDFs or however many reports in it, all in one. Last thing is the dashboard. So you saw me quickly before set up, show where to put, create a tile, which bring into here. The data that I put in here for a customer to begin with, I don't put this much data in. Typically what I'll focus on is maybe putting a name and the phone number, so that way I know the name of the call or the queue. If it's a queue-based organisation and they've got the Tolring Ultimate, I'll put this down the bottom so that way they can see people sign in and out. And then maybe put on the unreturned missed calls. And let's face it, everyone wants to be able to return a missed call. They don't want to post mortem the next day of the business they've lost. They want to be able to see it in real time. So this is something you probably want to see set up with them very quickly. And if you don't want to give them direct access to Tolring just yet, but you still want them to be able to see the data, you've always got the option, if you've got the projection license, to click on this link here and then publish it and provide that link to them. So say, look, here's the data in a view that you can watch for the next week. So that way you can see what's going on. And then on day 7, we'll come in and review the data and explain to you what is going on, then give them the full access.